So have you ever felt like you were in a good routine? You were trying to implement all the things that you learned that are supposed to be good for you and help you in whatever your goal is in life. So you're doing them all, you're adding them all into your schedule. You've got this routine going and it's working beautifully. Everything is structured. And then all of a sudden you get smacked in the face by life and you're trying to keep up with everything, even with this life thing happening, and it starts to feel overwhelming, but you feel like you don't want to stop what you have going. So this happened to me recently. I have a 9-month-old, and for a while, like, he was sleeping through the night. We were doing good. So I was getting up at 5:30 in the morning to try to get work done before both my kids wake up. And so going to bed at 10, waking up at 5:30, getting an hour and a half of work done before they get up. I was doing good. I had a whole morning routine going. I was productive. I had things crossed off my list. It felt good. I was in such a flow. And then all of a sudden, I don't know if it was teething or whatever, but his whole schedule changed. And he started taking like 2 hours just to get to bed. And then in the middle of the night, he would be up at like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. for a good hour and a half. And then he'd be up for good around like 5:30. And so this whole routine that I had going was completely thrown off because now there wasn't sleep happening for me in the middle of the night because I'm taking care of him. So I was initially trying to maintain getting up early and still being productive while also trying to tend to his needs. And I had to take a moment and kind of step back. And this is where I've evolved, because normally I'd be like, okay, I just need to go. There's no excuses. We need to keep going. But I had to just reassess of like, is this working for me? Because I was starting to get very exhausted. I was starting to kind of feel burnout. I wasn't really acknowledging my needs. And I was tired. I just remember thinking one morning, I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got nothing left in the tank. I'm exhausted. And so at this moment, I had to reevaluate, what am I doing? Am I actually serving myself and helping myself in this routine? Or am I just doing this because it's that old pattern of like, you need to be productive and nothing can slack, or nothing can come off your schedule. You just have to always add on to it. So I came to realization, like, this isn't working. It's not helping me move forward. It's actually hindering me. So for that moment, I stopped setting the alarm at 5:30. I stopped getting up that super early time, because for me, sleep was that self-care. Sleep was more important than that productivity at that time. And that's such a big thing, because when we're a high achiever, a perfectionist, like, it's that go, go, go. And you don't feel like you can ever just give yourself some grace to slow down and stop, especially when it means not checking things off in the morning. And this was a limiting belief I had to work through, and I continue to work through. It's always those constant reminders, like, okay, what are you doing? Is it serving you, or is it not? And for me at that time, waking up early was actually hindering me. It was really burning the candle at both ends. So I had to recognize that my son for this moment is getting up early. So I need to adjust my schedule and help myself feel fulfilled in this moment. I still stuck with my morning routines of other things that I did, but waking up early to be productive was not the priority. My self-care was a priority. And so this is a big thing I've seen in myself. I've seen in many people I've worked with, in that we try to implement all these things. We add all these things to our schedule. People tell you to drink a gallon of water a day, or work out for a half hour a day, or eat this, do this meditation in the morning, do this breath work, go outside, go for a walk. And while I am a huge advocate of all of those, we also have to be aware of how much are we bombarding our lives with things, because we can easily get into that trap of following everyone's advice and trying to put all these things into our life. But at the end of the day, if you're feeling guilt and shame when you can't meet those demands, or you're doing it and feeling overwhelmed, then they're not serving you. And so this is something we have to recognize, that it's not about just doing what everyone says to do. It's about recognizing the things that are beneficial. So yes, getting early morning sunlight, I'm a huge advocate for that. Yes, going for a walk, huge advocate. Breath work, love it. Visualization stuff, love it. Meditation, love it. Vagus nerve stuff, love it. But we have to filter it through our own filter. And this is where learning to trust ourselves, learning what we need, which no one else can say, what we need personally, filtering all those things that are really beneficial for us. We need to filter it through our own filter and say, okay, what amount of these can I do and still feel like it's serving me? So in this moment, did I continue to do self-care? Yes. Did I continue to do personal development, nervous system regulation, subconscious reprogramming? Yes. But did I do it to the extent I was doing it weeks prior? No, I had to tone it down because in that moment, I needed a little bit less of that. I needed to take care of my sleeping so that way productivity actually could be better because I was doing that self-care. So if you feel like you are hearing all these messages of do this, don't do that, it can be very bombarding, all the information that people tell you what to do in order to get this result. It can feel very, very overwhelming very quickly. If you're feeling like that and you're a perfectionist high achiever and you're trying to implement all these things because that's what you do, you are the person who takes on the challenge and goes at a full force and feels like you can do whatever and add things and you're fine, you'll get through. I want to challenge you to take a look at your life and say to yourself and ask yourself, is this serving me? Because unless we take a moment of pause and recognize the things that we're doing in our life and whether it's actually giving us that joyful, blissful, restful feeling, or are we just doing it because people tell us to do it and then we can check it off our list and we can feel productive? So are you doing it because you actually get the benefits that you're supposed to be getting in feeling relaxed, restful, energized? Or are you doing it for the sheer fact that someone suggested it and you're doing it and you can cross it off your list as if you are being more productive? So it's those subtle things. And to the outside, you may not see the difference, but when you start recognizing the reasons behind behind what you're doing and why you're doing it, it's all the difference. So take a look at your life. You may be in a really good routine and you feel like it's working for you. You're seeing the benefits. You're feeling blissful, joyful, relaxed, elevated, then keep doing it. But if you're adding all these things and bombarding your schedule just for the sake of doing them because people say that they're beneficial, give yourself the gift of a moment of pause and pull back the reins a little bit. I'm not saying to stop. I'm a huge advocate for self-care. I'm a huge advocate for honoring our needs and our nervous system and recognizing the things we can do to help ourselves, but not to the extent that we get into the same patterns of productivity, shame, guilt, all those things that don't serve us. So take a look at your life. What are things that you're doing that maybe it's too much right now? Maybe you need to make that adjustment. And when things settle down in your life and life isn't happening and things aren't going crazy, now you can start adding some more of those things in. But it's a constant adjustment. Life will happen and we do have to make these adjustments. So just like my son waking up really early now and being up in the middle of the night, I had to adjust. And that's okay because I'm still honoring my needs by doing that. I'm not just blowing through all these things that I need to get through to be productive, because that's what the old version of myself would have done. So ask yourself as you move through your day, you're doing things to serve you, which is amazing, but are they serving you? Or are you just doing them because you were told that they will help and you're doing them to check them off your list? So again, take that moment of pause in your life. It is so crucial to bring awareness to what we're doing and why we're doing it. So enjoy the rest of your day. I hope that serves you and take care.